I'm Rabbi Naamah Kelman. I'm a Reform rabbi and the first woman to be ordained here in the state of Israel, in the land of Israel. Could we build a society where we are a majority, returning to our historic roots, our biblical roots, our liturgical and scriptural roots? It begins with Abraham, the patriarch of our people, Abraham and Sarah. His story turns into the story of all our patriarchs and matriarchs. We eventually establish the kingdom of Judah and Israel and settle this land and build our holy sites here. Everything we celebrate and mourn crisscrosses, is literally rooted in this land. So even when the Jewish people are dispersed, we still very much hold on to this idea of coming back. It's a religion that's also a people that cross borders and cultures, but we kept together through the connection here. And people claim there were always Jews here in this land in small numbers. The establishment of the state of Israel was accelerated by the Holocaust and the aftermath. But Jews had begun to come back here before, when it became clear that Jewish life then was unsustainable in Europe. So the land of Israel becomes the natural, historic place to come back to. With the declaration of the state of Israel, the surrounding Arab countries declare war on Israel, and at the end of this war we find ourselves in a certain boundaries where Jerusalem is divided, and the beginnings of the state of Israel begin, and the refugee problem as well begins. For Jews, 1948 is independence. For Palestinians, the Nakba. Israel finds itself what many Jews felt was a miraculous military victory, unthinkable for Jews who had just decades before literally came out of the gas chambers. And what's going to pick up in 1977, a massive settlement in the West Bank, where religious Zionists who become increasingly messianic religious Zionists see this as a return to Judea and Samaria. We in Israel live in the sense of constant conflict with our surrounding Arab neighbor countries. And then I would say in more recent time, starting in 1988, 89 with the intifadas, that's when the real armed conflict begins even more. This taps into so much of Israeli Jewish trauma. Christians have an interesting and paradoxical role here. I think we find ourselves wanting Christians to play a role of a bridge here between Jews and Muslims, because the conflict is more direct with Muslims and Muslim countries. And Christians, particularly Western Christians, now speak a language that some Jews share and understand. I think one of the hardest things sometimes for Palestinians to understand, and when I've been in dialogue too, just how fearful Jews are and insecure. And even the fact we have a very strong army for Palestinians, and here I understand their fear, the Israeli army is the occupier. It fills them with fear. But for me, it's my child and my grandchild. So we're stuck in this conflict now. As long as we're in this victimhood cycle, I'm not sure how we'll be able to get out of it. So we're all survivors of trauma. And the more we hear each other's suffering, the more we might be able to move forward. Our theology is treating the stranger, the orphan, and the widow justly. That the truth is, we were promised this land, but it's promised on the condition that we build a just and fair society. I am a Zionist, but My Zionism will be truly fulfilled when there is a just and fair solution to the Palestinian people as well. Clearly, Palestinians and Muslims and Christians have an attachment to this place as a Holy Land. We sit here not far from the epicenter of Al-Aqsa, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the Wailing Wall, and for important and for necessary reasons, Jews felt the only way to survive in the world would be to come back and rebuild. And again, not paying attention, not listening to the fact that there was another people here. We haven't really achieved the status of Holy Land in the sense, all of us, that we don't live in peace with one another. We haven't found the way to create the kind of coexistence and shared holy places to be worthy of that, that status. So it's when people see beyond the suffering, see beyond the victimhood, join forces to save lives, then maybe our leaders and maybe our God will hear our cries.